Hey everyone, it's Eve Richards from the Discovery Pod with Eve. Welcome back to another episode. We've got such an exciting show today with an incredible guest, Sean Frost. We'll dive into his background in a minute. So please make sure you watch this episode on the Discovery Pod with Eve's YouTube channel, or you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. I am joined today by my co-host, my friend, actress Melissa Neese-Smith. I can't even talk, Melissa, so gosh, it's been one of those crazy days. Forgive me. Okay, I haven't had breakfast. I'm a little hungry. Welcome back.
Thank you.
To another episode. It's so good to have you back.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Yes.
It is the holiday season. It's upon us. It's been crazy, fun, and just a little loopy, huh?
A little loopy. I'm sorry. I'm a little hungry today, and I know we've got a very long day ahead of us. And I know it's been busy. I haven't seen you in ages. It feels like I haven't seen you. It's been 5 weeks or so since we had dinner, and we've both been very busy. But I want to go back because this show is about inspiring folks from all over the globe to go out and chase their dreams and not be afraid. We've got someone who's got such an incredible story.
Yeah.
But looking at where we were last year, you had just moved last November from Seattle to LA on a full-time basis.
Yes.
Leaving Matt and Jaden.
Yep.
We were having tiny
apple pies.
Teeny tiny apple pies. I remember we're sitting in my house that all of December wondering, okay, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Fast forward. 2024. And it's just been like...
It's been a whirlwind. We went from being able to see each other almost on a daily basis, have lunches, dinners.
Every day.
Having experiences, doing events, all these crazy things. And now it's like, gosh, how long has it been since we've seen each other? What are you doing on this day?
Crazy.
What do you, it's been insane, but it's a good thing.
Wonderful. And I know 2025 is going to be wonderful for both of us.
Yes.
All the continued success. I just know it's like the sky's the limit. Yeah. And I know the holiday season is upon us, and I hope you have a wonderful time going back home because last year was rough. So God is great. The universe is wonderful.
Amen.
Things are happening. So I think it's a great segue into introducing our special guest.
Yes, Sean Frost. We have an extraordinary guest today. He is not only a man who has built a successful company like They Live Like They Dream Inc. and Black River Homes, but who has also faced life's most challenging lows and risen to new heights in perseverance.
Wow.
His heart and vision, Sean's journey from rock bottom to success, is a testament to the power of grit and importance of following one's purpose. We're all about that. Yeah. Whether they're through his real estate ventures, his work as a custom home builder, or his passion for music production, Sean embodies the belief with the determination that we can turn our dreams into reality. I love that. That is so true. His story is one that will inspire us all to push through obstacles, embrace our unique journeys, and build a legacy that matters. Welcome, Sean.
Welcome, Sean.
Thank you, guys. Welcome. Yeah, I appreciate it. Oh, nice. The round of applause there.
Yes.
Now that's an introduction. I really appreciate it. Really nice meeting you guys, and thank you so much for having me on.
So, Sean, you've spoken, which Melissa just alluded to. You've spoken about hitting rock bottom at one point in your life. Can you share that experience with us? And what moment that sparked your comeback?
Yeah, I certainly can, Eve. So there's a few whys that I have, and a few times that I've felt, personally the lowest of the lows. And it's always interesting because, from the outside looking in, it might not seem so bad, but it just goes on, you can never really judge or tell what somebody's going through. So I think one of the big ones of mine was, I was working as a music producer. I was doing okay. I started this business in high school, and I'm from Canada, so I was working in Ottawa, Canada, but I was also working with a group of artists out in Kansas City, and kind of going back and forth with the music. And at the same time, I was attending university. And while I was attending university here in Ottawa, I was finishing up my exams. And things went south at the studio that I was working at. And I basically lost everything, which was fine. I still had some savings, but in terms of the actual studio itself, was gone. And I then decided to go and get a, quote unquote, a real job, something that looked good on paper. I was in my mid 20s at this point and felt that it was time to, again, quote unquote, grow up and take the next step. So I got a job at the hospital, and I was working in healthcare, working with patient care. So I felt fulfilled in the sense that I was doing something that was, honorable and something that was good, but I knew that it wasn't my end all be all, like my be all end all. So um, I started branching out, and I ended up in starting a general contracting company. And I absolutely hated it. I ran it for a couple years, and I got to the point where I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky person. I try to give off, a good energy, because that's how I feel in life in general. And at this point, money was coming in. It was in terms of what some perceive as success. Money was coming in, so the bank account looked okay, but I was dreading waking up in the morning. I was getting anxious going to bed at night. I felt like it was a thankless job, which then bled over into my job at the hospital, which I knew was just a job for me. That's not knocking anybody that works in those same positions as a career. It's just everybody's path is different, and I knew that wasn't the play that I was supposed to be in for that long. And so then now I felt like I was in a dead end job at the hospital. I was running a company that I absolutely despised, and I wasn't happy in life at all. And I had a business partner in the general contracting company, whose English was a second language. He's a brother of mine, and I was now dealing with the stress of letting him down by not wanting to continue this company, because I was handling all the day to day, the client stuff, and I felt like I was going to let down like my best friend who had a family at the time that really really needed this work. So I had all these pressures and stresses that I probably created most of them in my own head, but I came from lower income housing as a kid. That's how I grew up. So I've never taken money for granted, and having those opportunities. So I was always struggling, like, who am I to turn my back on revenue and money coming in? Who am I to take away a dream of one of my best friends? And who am I to be complaining about steady business? So I had all these whirlwinds and storms going around in my head, and I hated waking up every day.
Wow.
That was it.
What role has resilience played in your life, especially in moments when success seems so far out of reach for you?
Um, well, Melissa, I've been very, very, like, I've been blessed, and I'm very fortunate that I grew up. My dad's in the picture. My dad and I are very close now, but I grew up with my mom. It was my mom and I against the world.
Wow.
So she really instilled those values, from the time as long as I can remember, because she's always scratched and clawed, and really pushed and done as much as she could do, throughout her whole life. So I was able to witness that firsthand. So from the beginning, I've always had that self belief and known that, I'm not a gambling man, but I'll bet on myself every time.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
Incredible. I recently saw a picture of Sean with his son, his mini me. It was such a cute video that he had on Instagram. So I'm going to ask you, as a father, an entrepreneur, a mentor, how do you balance these roles while staying true to yourself? And what advice would you give to those trying to juggle multiple roles in life?
So we always, as an entrepreneur or anybody that has a demanding career, we always talk about work-life balance, right? And for me, it's always been very, very, very simple, especially once Carter was born. We are attached at the hip. I work.
That's his son.
No.
How
That's my
old is
son. Yeah. So
he?
he's 7. We are, that's my priority. So now it's very easy for me to, I don't want to say very easy. That's the wrong choice of words, but it's a no-brainer that I put the value, like my value is of course time. It's not money. It is time. It's the, obviously the resource that we're all limited on no matter what. So I need to be able to position myself, and this is my motivation. I need to be able to position myself that I can drop him off at school every day, pick him up at school every day, try to spend every moment from school to the time that he goes to bed every day as much as possible. That's where my priorities are. So now I can hustle. We mentioned the company. One of the companies that I own is Live Like They Dream. It's on the wall behind me in my office. It's also tattooed across my chest. So every morning that I wake up, I look in the mirror, that's what I see. So I am relentless. Resiliency is one thing, but I am relentless to the point that I will grind and hustle as hard as I possibly can so that I can enjoy every moment that I'm working towards. I'm not building and working necessarily just for the future. I'm working to enjoy the present, to enjoy today. So if picking my son up at school and just watching a movie or wrestling with him and having a wrestling match with him or going out and doing something with him, taking him to a sporting event, whatever, I know that I've earned it because I've put in the time and work.
Yeah.
But I also know that without the hustle that I have and the organization, I wouldn't be able to necessarily enjoy these opportunities. So it all goes hand in hand. I basically now grind as hard as possible. One, because I super enjoy everything that I do. I now am comfortable saying no when I'm not interested in something. And I use that as motivation to be able to propel me to enjoy all the life experiences that I want. I don't want to miss anything that I really want to do.
That's a great place to be, and not too many people have that. So good for you.
It's important for parenting also to have that one-on-one time with your child to really make that impact, and for them to have those memories with you too. So that's amazing. As a parent, I get it.
Yeah.
So Sean, I see here that you've worked with youth organizations like the Boys and Girls Club and the Canadian Children's Hospital. What have these experiences taught you about the importance of giving back?
I've always been a big advocate for obviously paying it forward and giving it back. And there are selfish reasons, and I'm not talking about tax purpose or anything like that. I have selfish reasons, underlying some of the reasons why I do the give back. Of course, first and foremost is to be able to give back and to be able to help out. I was in a position where some of these programs, I either didn't know about them, they didn't exist, but regardless, I never really took them up. And if I was back in the same position now as I was then, like I think I probably would have, and I would have taken advantage of a few of the opportunities out there. But that being said, I really, really, really love giving back. I take great pride in being able to help, not just take care of myself and take care of my family, but I really take immense pride in being able to make a difference to other people. And then further on that, I also take a lot of pride in my parents. My parents are separated, an absolute blessing. I talk about this a lot, but it's an odd thing to say, but it's such, I was fortunate in the sense that my parents stayed close friends, but separated. So I was really able to get both my parents for who they were, not as a team, but like individually. So I know my dad on a different level and I know my mom on a different level. I take a lot of pride in having my parents be proud of me. And again, that gives me, I use that as motivation. I use that as positive energy that I can output. So that's one reason. And then the third reason is that I use it I flat out just use it as motivation. Being able to help, whether it's getting accolades back, I don't need the thank yous, but I know what I'm doing and I know the impact that I'm making. That makes me feel so recharged and energized by being able to do that I can keep pushing. And the other thing is I work really well under pressure. So I actually do sometimes I take on a little bit more than, I live a little bit beyond my means in the sense of, potentially giving back and doing things like that, because if I make $10, I'd rather give 4 away and keep 6. Wow. So I'm keeping 6 to save properly and to continue to operate. But I like putting my back against the wall because then I have to go out and get it and I can't get complacent.
Wow. So your background spans across real estate, construction, and of course, music production. How has this diversity in career paths shift your approach to business and life? And how can embracing such a multifaceted life lead to personal fulfillment?
So great question, Eve. And I think just answering the last part first would be the blend. So it's I don't separate work life and family life and social life. So like my work life balance, when a lot of people, the way that a lot of people think about it is that's not the way that I think about it. I think about it as my life in general and in total. And it took me, I was a people pleaser. I had a very, very hard time saying no to things. Now everything that I do is I'm only doing it because I want to be doing it. I want to be there. For example, the episode that we're doing right now, and
Yeah.
and it could be the same case with you guys, but if I wasn't interested or if I didn't want to be here,
Yeah.
then I wouldn't be here.
Wow.
I'm here because right now at this moment, there's no place that I would rather be than speaking
Oh,
to you
And we
guys.
appreciate
And I
that.
wow.
mean that
That
with the utmost honesty.
that's
Um,
Amazing.
wonderful.
I I I make a I'm very intentional in the sense of like what I do for work, what I do for social, what I do for personal life, and how I parent and stuff. I do everything the way that, and it's not always right or wrong, but I do everything. I want to be doing all the stuff that I'm doing. Life's way too short to be caught doing things that you're
Wow.
not
Right.
happy with. And
Right.
the real estate and the music, I came up in the music. My dad's best friend was a touring sound man.
Oh,
I was very fortunate to do backstage shows, a little bit of like tour bus stuff as a kid. I really, really got to experience a ton. And that was coming up from like, quote unquote lower class. So
Wow.
those experiences I will never trade for the world, but I've always wanted to be involved in the music scene. And I tried very, very hard individually to make it. And, I was successful in a lot of ways, but not in the sense that it could carry me financially all the way that I
Okay.
basically where I needed to be.
Yeah.
So from the general contracting company, when I was able to finally muster enough courage and strength to shut that down, and I basically woke up and closed the doors. Um, that was the start of things changing because at that point I was so relieved closing the company, but then I was back to square one and I didn't know where to go. So like my I want to say downward spiral or just feeling like I was stuck at the bottom was I didn't know what the next step was. So
Wow.
I was very lucky that I had a colleague, one of my best friends. He was like, "You need to be a real estate agent. You got it. You've got this in your blood." And I'm like, "All right, well, I'm not really a salesman, but I do like servicing in the sense that I really like helping people. So if I can reframe it in the sense that like I'm not in sales, but I'm in service and I'm helping people achieve the biggest purchase that they're ever going to make or helping them achieve a family or life
Yeah.
goal or a dream come true, well then maybe I can make this work." And I went and got licensed, hit the ground running, and from there I was like, okay, well, here where I am in Ontario, you have to be licensed to build custom homes. And I've never had a problem investing and believing and betting on myself. So I'm a firm believer in continued education. So whether that's through YouTube videos and self-learning or taking a course or enrolling in an actual institution, um, or even reading a book, like
That's
whatever
awesome.
it takes to be able to propel you or give you a little bit more information that could help you down the road is an investment well made, in my opinion.
That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So then I went, got my license, became a licensed builder, and then circled back, grabbed my best friend who I was a partner with at the general contracting company, and I said, "Hey, why are we doing this? Why are we doing kitchens, bathrooms, basements, stuff like this for clients that aren't really appreciative? We're going the extra mile and we're not getting any thanks. We're in a lose-lose situation. Well, now we have our license. Why don't we just go out and like have some fun and build some houses?
Yeah.
And then we can sell them to the if and then the mindset was like, if you don't like it, don't buy it."
Wow.
Well, that's a great way because I was just going to ask this question. So, when you started the Black River Homes, what vision did you have for the kind of homes you wanted to build? How does that vision connect to creating safe and meaningful spaces for others?
So yeah, so it was at first it was the unknown, right? Like it
Mm-hmm.
was, get our license, we create this company, and then again, just like a lot of other businesses, is like, okay, well, now what? So we were lucky to come across a couple of investors that the synergy was on point. We had a lot of the kind of the same vision. Theirs, of course, was a little bit more driven on the monetary side, where ours was driven on the reputation side. Like, let's start building our business out, get the personal brand, and create something that people are going to be excited about. And of course, operate with integrity. I try to do everything. My reputation to me is extremely, extremely important. I don't want to say it, come out and be like, oh, I really care what other people think about me. But
Yeah.
the truth of the matter is I do, because being involved in a lot of businesses and doing a lot of public events and working with the community, I do put a big focus on how I want people to see me, and I try to come out as authentic as I can, so that people always feel like they're seeing the real me. And again, that's blended through family, social, and work life. But creating these first spaces, truth be told, it was really like, let's just make a solid home. We're not going to think too much into, what we're trying to build. It's like, these are the plans that the investors want us to build. We're getting our feet wet. We're in a great neighborhood. Let's create something that goes with the already existing neighborhood. But let's put a little something on it.
So you faced setbacks, yet here you are, stronger than ever. What can others learn from failure, from your experience, and how can they use setbacks as, stepping stones to success?
So the failure part, like, you're only failing if you quit, right? So if you give up, that's a fail. If something doesn't work out, to me, that's not a failure. I fall forward. So and I have no issues falling. I have no issues admitting that I'm falling, or how many times I've fallen. To me, that's irrelevant. I would rather learn from it, figure out why it didn't work, so that the next time I go try to do something, I know what not to do. Sometimes half the battle is not knowing what to do, it's knowing what not to do. So I think a lot of people, I do mentor a lot of young entrepreneurs, and I also put a big emphasis on people that are feeling stuck. So no matter what age you are, I've been there where I felt like I was at ground zero and I just had no idea what to do. I was super unfulfilled, and I knew that where I was not my purpose. I wasn't fulfilling anything. I was underachieving, but I didn't really know how to get there. So I think now the perception of the way that the world is,
going back to that question, right? And I say this because there are so many people out there. Rejection is, we're both actresses, and rejection is such a tough thing. And I think one of the things that I really liked about your story when you reached out to me on Instagram was, it's so difficult to lift yourself up. So if you could speak a little more to that, just because, it's a tough thing, right? Yeah. Dealing with rejection, which, people are going to say, yeah, he's saying this because he probably had others or mentors. So I'm serious, how did you do it?
Yeah, so no, I was on an island. I definitely didn't have anybody, anybody in the sense to mentor me, but very fortunate to have a very strong group of people in my circle around me. So, my close friends are my close friends for a reason. And I have,
I love that, because we had a previous guest, Elliot, today, and that's exactly, Princess Karen. She said the same.
Yes, she did.
Surround yourself with people who uplift you. So I love that.
And support you.
Right. And that will listen to you and not just give advice. Right. And that's the thing, is that it's very easy. And we all know this, like, from the outside looking in, sometimes the answers are so oblivious, right? So obvious. And I was in a position where I was able to kind of share, and not easy for a lot of people, right? But I was able to share with the closest people that I have how I was feeling, where I was at. And even if they weren't able to necessarily instill some advice on me, they were there to listen, and then also there to, like we said, to uplift and to help, to try to cheer me up. And just knowing that I had people behind me or around me, it definitely helped things. And I just came to grips with, like, it was going to start, something was going to give. Like, I have too much to give. I have too much to offer to be in this position forever. And I think one of the biggest things is, obviously now one of my mentors is Ryan Serhant, on the real estate side. And then So he's helped me a lot on the real estate front, and getting me out of my shell, such as doing podcasts. And one of the other things is, I did a lot of learning through like Tony Robbins, Robbins Madonna's training, and I was really able to change my perception so that things that I was looking at as negatives in my life, I was really able to turn them into positives. And
Wow.
as an example of that was like working at the hospital. So I worked at the hospital for 13 years. 4 of those years, I was, in my mind, a very successful real estate broker. And I continued to work at the hospital for a couple of reasons. One, because I really, really enjoyed the job, even though financially it didn't really make sense at that point in my life. I just really loved what I was doing and that I was helping. So I stayed there. The second thing is that I then used the hospital where I was like, hey, 6 months ago, I was thinking that this is a dead end job for me. Now I'm working with doctors, nurses, technologists, radiologists, surgeons, you name it. I work here every day and I'm a real estate broker. Why am I not working at farming my real estate business through the healthcare system where I live? Well, next thing you know, you're making multiple six figures through people that you're meeting at the place that you thought was a dead end job 6 months ago.
Wow.
And that completely transformed. It actually like rocket shipped my whole trajectory by staying at the hospital the 4 years longer.
Wow.
And working, multiple jobs.
So powerful.
It
What
is.
he just said. You never know. Sometimes you're at a specific place for a specific reason.
Absolutely. And so I want to kind of go around a curve here, and so you're passionate about music production also. So what creativity factor? How does that factor into everything that you do?
So I'm a big believer in music for many reasons. As a producer, I started composing and making music in high school. Like I said, I kind of gave that up when I was trying to build other things out because sometimes you can't do it all. You can't do everything at the same time. And if you think you can, you're probably not doing everything at a full clip. Like it's not at 100%. And if I'm going to do something, I do it at 100%. Otherwise, don't do it at all. And
Wow.
getting back into it, it's a passion of mine. It's always been burning in me. And a colleague of mine, Nathan, one of my best friends, brought this artist to me and said, listen, I have this young artist. I think he's got potential. And, the amount of times that somebody said this to me, but I was just, it was the right place, right time. And I was like, yeah, let me hear him. And I heard him and I was like, okay, like this guy's got it. Where's he from? And he's like, he's from Ottawa. Like he's from your city. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how old is he? And this is how old he is. I'm like, does he have a criminal record? No. Okay. So he can travel, but important question, right?
It is.
And,
Yep.
he can travel. Perfect. What's his character like? Stand up young dude.
Wow.
It's like still very young, but great character. You got to meet him. And I actually took the plunge and started investing in his music career. Almost like an angel investor, like on the back end. I actually didn't meet him for about 6 months after I started working with him.
Okay.
Sorry.
To continue that question, how can our listeners cultivate their own creative spark even if they don't feel creative themselves?
Fair. Sorry, I was getting off topic there. So,
No, you're fine. It's called passion.
How can they cultivate their own creative spark? So I think half the battle is discovering what that creative spark is. Like a lot of people don't know where they want to harness that energy. I think it's if you can figure out what you want to be doing, like creatively, like even if it's a hobby, whether it's acting, whether it's behind the scenes, producing, directing, like whatever it may be, whatever your creative passion is, it could be physical art. So whatever the creative passion is, one thing that I do, and I kind of I do this the exact same way, even for new businesses, for startups. So, you start with the business plan, you start building things out. But I also go to the end game and figure out where I want to try to end up at that particular time. That can change. Nothing ever has to be set in stone. So, and then I work my way backwards. So like whatever my goal is, I try to work my way backwards towards the business plan, however far I got. And then eventually those lines get pretty close to touching. and then I just have to work on connecting the dots to make everything flow. And I think part of the creative spark is not letting yourself get discouraged. So if you can figure out what you want to do, like we were talking about how rejection can be so difficult.
Yeah.
And I think rejection for everybody is different, because on my end, if somebody says no to a business or no to a business idea, it's very easy for me to not take it personally. Whereas I think in other professions, it could be trickier when it could be almost directly to you. For example, like an audition that doesn't go well, I could see how that could have a different impact on an individual than if somebody said, hey, I'm not really feeling that business proposal, it's not for me. Okay, no problem.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So I'm going to ask you a two-part question since we're moving into the holiday season.
Sure.
How do you celebrate the holidays? And secondly, what are you looking forward to? What projects do you have on the horizon for 2025?
Okay. So I am, my family and my wife, myself, my son, we are definite Christmas junkies over here. Very, very festive. So we do Halloween, and we do Halloween and Christmas really, really hard. Halloween, like the whole house is done. Everything's crazy. We do a crazy Halloween party every year.
Wow.
Magicians, bartenders.
In Canada? Are you in That's where you live?
Pardon me?
Are you in Canada? That's where you live?
I'm in Canada, yes.
Okay.
And but holiday-wise, extremely festive. I've got a Christmas tree in my office right beside me. There are currently 7 Christmas trees up in my house, all decorated.
I thought I was like festive. You're blowing me out of the water.
7 Christmas trees.
I got a problem.
It's not a problem. Trust me, it's not a problem.
Yeah,
wow.
perfect.
Roger just said he has 4.
4?
Wow.
Oh my.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
So,
okay.
No, it's a very, very important time for me because I don't know if you guys find it the same way, but going like through the fall, coming into the winter, especially in Canada, like winter can get cold and a ton of snow, but it's also that time of year where I notice like, not only people getting sick, but it's also a window where I find that I'm getting to the age where like I'm losing people, and it really puts things into perspective. And I find this time of year is always one of those where, I'm losing people and I really have to.
I'm sorry, Sean, you are still very young.
I'm not that young. Yeah, I appreciate that, but I'm not that young. But but that's the reality of it is based on where I grew up and the the environment that I grew up in, and it's just there's and then also now I'm also at the age where like a lot of my parents and my friends' parents are getting older as well.
Yeah. So
just people that I've grown up with and been close with. It's just that time of year to really put things into perspective and be like, when I get like right now, I'll be honest, like right now I've taken on a lot. I've probably overreached on a couple things. That's full transparency. So I'm actually at a point in life where I know I'm going to be able to get through it. But right now I am in the middle of my own storm that I've created.
That's a good place.
And
that's a good place to be in.
Yeah.
Not too many people can actually say that. You've taken a lot more because people are looking for projects.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
and it will pay off. Just right now I'm facing those stresses and the struggles. And again, it's self-induced, but it's important. So I'm just trying to like power through, but it puts things into perspective when I get stressed out, or if I'm not a woe is me or playing the victim, but if I'm just feeling a little bit sorry for myself, it's very easy for me to look around and be like, okay, just like our Thanksgiving and American Thanksgiving and then going into Christmas, it's an excellent time to just sit back and reflect and be like, how blessed, how fortunate, how lucky am I? And then people say like, well, you earned it. You worked hard to get it. And it's like, right. But then take it back a step further and be like, how lucky, how fortunate, how blessed am I that there was a higher power or, circumstances, whatever you want to believe or whatever your beliefs are, that's your prerogative. And I'm all down for it. But how lucky am I that I have the ability to be in the position to grind, hustle, work hard. Yeah. I'm healthy right now.
Being thankful,
all these things, all these factors that are able, yes, I can put the hard work in, but that's not a given to be in a position to even be able to do the hard work
Oh,
to
yeah.
elevate, right? And that's where people get lost. They're like, oh, like, yeah, you just worked for it. Like, you deserve it. And it's like, right, I appreciate it, but I was very fortunate to have the ability to be able to
Yes.
work hard in the first place.
Wonderful.
Great way to put it. Great way to put it. I always wake up every morning saying my, what I'm thankful for, what
Every
I'm grateful
day.
for. Thankful for
Yeah,
waking
for
up
being
this morning.
alive every morning at night.
To be able to
just
have
because,
these things
yes,
to,
life is precious, and
It is.
you have to thank
and
someone.
we both know how that is.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, question. Mentorship.
Yes.
So, how do you feel about mentorship, and how many kids or anybody that you're mentoring at this time?
So it's ongoing. It's an open door policy. So again, time is my most valuable resource. Anybody that is putting in the effort, it might not be a ton of time, but I will always have time for you. So if you are doing if you're clocking at 100% and you're giving it everything you've got my attention, and you're going to get any insight that I could possibly offer. So that's my philosophy on that. I don't do paid mentorships. For me, that's it's not imposter syndrome, but I'm not comfortable offering insight and sitting down with somebody and charging them. And I know that that's not the smartest thing business wise, but I don't care. That's the plain answer. I don't do it as a business. I do it to help. I do it to give off the energy so that I can take it all back in abundance elsewhere. It doesn't need to be directly from what I'm putting out. I know that it's around the corner and it's going to come back to me and be paid forward. So as long as you're giving an effort, I've got time for you. In terms of how many people I've sat down and offered insight and helped out, whether it's building a business plan or just ideas or playing devil's advocate, it's definitely been countless, and it's constantly ongoing. It's just a way that I feel that I can offer, a little bit of maybe assistance to anybody that's feeling either confused, stuck, or just in the unknown, like overwhelmed. Like, what do I do? Where do I start? Well, maybe I can tell you what worked for me.
Yep.
And most importantly, I can tell you what didn't work for me, to maybe save you that step.
I love your logo, by the way. I think it's like, I just love that logo.
Thank you.
So, you've gone through the highs, the lows, and, life is good. How do you want to be remembered?
That's great.
Yes. Great question, Eve. And I'm glad you asked it. Personally, I am actually I'm on my legacy quest right now. I appreciate the compliment of not thinking that I was that old, but I really am. I really am focused. It's always in the back of my mind that
Sean,
it's not.
You've
Sorry,
been
go
talking
ahead.
about this age thing, and I'm sorry. Since you've mentioned it, I'm just going to go ahead and ask you, put you on the spot. How
Yeah, no
old
worries.
are
So
you?
I'm 40.
Okay. Wouldn't have guessed
Yeah.
it. Would not have guessed it.
No.
Right? Did you?
Nice.
40 is
Well,
young. I'm
let me
sorry.
throw a question back.
Hey.
What would I come across as?
Okay.
I thought maybe you were maybe 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 40 is still very young. So let us know. How do you want to be remembered? What's your
Oh,
legacy?
Yeah.
you guys are my favorite, by the way. But how do I want to be remembered? I want to be remembered as a community leader, as somebody that was never afraid to, go against the grain if it was something that I believed in, and I want to be remembered as somebody that gave everything to. Like everything I had to everything I wanted to do. I think that's the best way to put it, is that I really do try to live like they dream. Like, in the sense that, like, if I want to do something, including giving back, I'm going to do everything in my power to make it count. 2 years ago, I was very lucky to win. I'm partnered with our professional soccer team, our professional, football here, but soccer team. They approached me a few years ago because I'm a passionate supporter. We now work hand in hand.
Wow.
And our synergy, our main thing is community outreach. And I actually won across Canada. I won an award 2 years ago
Congratulations.
thank you, empowering the community
Wow.
with the use of soccer. And that was across Canada. And I just take immense pride being able to do that, because when I was growing up, I think I wasn't looking for somebody to help,
Yeah.
but I just didn't have it. And
Okay.
now for me to be coming from the bottom to being at a position where I'm at now, where I can turn back, it's like two ways that I can reference it. One is like climbing the fence. You're jumping the fence with your friends. Well, it's always easy for one friend to go up, and then as you're going over, reach back and pull the other person up.
Wow.
Eve?
Same thing as being on an airplane. I'm no good. I'm no good to anybody
Sean?
if I can't put my own oxygen mask on first.
Perfect.
We're down
Eve? Yeah, we're at your famous 3-minute mark.
Oh,
Let's
sorry,
ask your
sorry.
famous question.
So we're down to the 3-minute mark. If you
Okay.
were to have dinner with anyone dead or alive, who would it be and why?
How many people?
3.
3. Whew. Okay. 3 people. I think I would do. Oh man, I would probably have David Beckham.
Wow.
Yeah. He's an idol of mine. I think Tony Robbins would be in there.
Ooh,
Okay.
good one.
For the 2, and then for diversity, I would pick. Yeah, so I would do sports. I would do self-help and motivation, and then I would do music. Music is, oh my God, this is a tough one. I think, oh my goodness, I think I would have to go with Eminem.
Awesome.
Eminem, okay.
Sean, thank you for sharing your incredible story with us. Your journey marked by resilience, creativity, and service is a powerful reminder that no matter where we start or what obstacles we face, we have the power to shape our own future. This has been incredible. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Melissa, what an amazing
This was a great
episode.
story. This was an amazing story. Lots of ups and downs, but perseverance.
And it's a story that's going to resonate with a global audience around
Absolutely.
This has been amazing. Happy holidays to you, Sean.
Yeah,
Roger,
Sean.
thank you for producing. Jamie, thank you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you watch this episode with Sean Frost on the Discovery Pod with Eve's YouTube channel or on your favorite podcast platform. And please stop by next Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific time. You never know who's going to stop by. Again, Sean, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful journey with us. It's truly inspiring, very uplifting. It's been amazing. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for having me on,
you.
guys.
Sean.